All right, guys, we are recording. So, I haven't seen a 4.0 video here in a few days, and I thought I would kick out my own, which I always do. Let's start from the beginning. I've been playing this game since Foundations, I think, and I've been modding this game since Next. It's 2017-ish, sometime around there. Somebody can give me the dates down in the comment sections and clarify that up. I'm not one of those diehard fans, and I know the dates, but that's when I've started modding and playing the game. Now I want to say this is one of my favorite games, one of the best games ever, but the reasons why I like it might differ from you, and the rest of what I'm going to say after this might shock the shit out of you, but I'm sorry, it's the truth, and it's probably why I'm not the No Man's Sky channel like everybody else, is because I play it differently, and I look at the business direction of the company from a different point of view of just some blind fan with a PS4. So, you know, just because you have a PS4 and you play games doesn't mean you're a game and developer analyst. It's kind of like saying, since I use a med kit in Call of Duty, I'm a heart surgeon. That's just redundant and ridiculous. It's ridiculous talk, and I feel like I meet a lot of professionals in this industry with only those requirements. I own a PS4, I own a Xbox, and I got a camera, and I talk. So anyway, I'm coming from it at a different points of views. I've got some, I've done businesses, and I'm looking at it from a consumer too, and not just a blind consumer. I don't like, what they've done and how they've done it. And let's talk about the 4.0 update here and why I don't like it. Well, I've already probably seen it. Whatever they're about to come out and release, and every single time, and if you go back and look up all my update videos, I say the same thing every time, and I'm the only one that's ever right. There's some other people who have jumped off in the last year and a half and started not going down that, the overhype bandwagon. But it seems to work for you. I mean, if you're a YouTuber and you find that method that works for you, then you just run with it. Like if I wanted to make my channel if I wanted to just kill my channel and get all my watch time and go crazy with it, I'd do save editor videos. All my save editor videos are very popular, and what I would do is do 70 videos on each save editor update. Now, I don't know how I would spin all that information over and over and over again. I guess I could, because I watch all the other content creators do it. But God, that's got to be boring. And man, I'm not doing that. And I feel sorry for anybody that's got to do that for a living, especially with some content like this, because you got to spin your wheels. I mean, if you're doing something else on YouTube and I don't know, you can kind of diversify yourself and actually talk about something interesting every single day instead of waiting for these updates and overhyping them and getting crazy, because you're never going to see that what you want to see. You're never gonna get that. So it's all small things. I look at the last couple ones, grass and things like that. I mean, wow. And let me tell you right now, I mean, everybody's like, okay, so enjoy these free updates. What are you talking about, the free updates? Well, they're not free, man. This is stuff that should have been out for all the players a long time ago. They had it all the time. So it was kind of like he sold you a mug of coffee here and didn't have any coffee in it. And he was like, he's going to slowly give you updates of coffee over the next 6 years. And then we don't even have a full cup quite yet. I wouldn't say. He made a lot of empty promises. Let me tell you about Sean Murray real quick. I think he's probably a really nice guy. Fundamentally, I mean, if you meet him, I think he's got no balls. I think he's just a real pushover, and he's probably got himself into a silent partner contract, probably with like Sony or a big company, and they've just castrated him. And he's not allowed to do anything with the No Man's Sky logo without probably their say. That's why he can't do anything. He can do a tweet because that's really not talking about anything. I mean, Why can't, I mean, you can't stop somebody from doing an emoji and letting the content creators go crazy. And I think that's because he's got silent partners. I think he's gotten himself into a situation where Sony or somebody probably bailed him out for No Man's Sky specifically, especially now Nintendo's different. And you see how when he does Nintendo, he comes out with his turtleneck and does a whole commercial for it, does a personal commercial for Nintendo. It's a whole nother separate entity. It's a whole nother license. It's a whole nother contract. It's a whole nother game. Because it's going to be slimmed down. So I would imagine that Sony has nothing to do with that. Also, look at the Joe Danger. So he actually came out and wrote some stuff about a cancer patient wanting it. So he did a version, updated the version or whatever, so they could play it and everything. That's a heart-touching thing. So he's a nice guy on this fundamental level, but somehow he painted himself in a corner with No Man's Sky, and he is not the one in charge of No Man's Sky. And that's his plain and simple. Someone, let me tell you, he had all this stuff 6 years ago. Everything that you've already seen in the game that's already all the way up until this point, he could have done 6 years ago. Now he probably couldn't push it to everybody because it's pretty heavy. Because he chose some very low minimum specs. I think his biggest problem after his E3 debut, after he showed everybody that great game with all that crazy landscape. I loved the game at the very beginning. Let me tell you that right now. I loved it. I loved the game in the beginning. Even the broken shit. I liked it. I didn't have any complaints. Cool as can be. And all that other added stuff in was kind of cool. I think he just had to figure out how to dumb it down to get it to play on minimum specs, which he had chosen back then. Originally was a GTX 480, and that's a PC low spec. That's lower than the Xbox, which is an amazing feat because it's one of the biggest games with one of the lowest minimum specs. I don't know how he did that, but that hurt everybody. And it was probably for sales. Sales, numbers. Fuck this great game and everything else. Let's put a govern on this thing and dumb it the hell down and then sell it to everybody. Now they're going to complain, but they got it. And then we'll trickle out all this stuff. We'll figure out how it works and we're going to reverse engineer it. I mean, they could play it on PC. They already had it. I mean, he had worms and all kinds of shit because they had some bomb-ass, probably, 4 GPUs and 1 computer. I can imagine what Sean Murray plays on the side. It's got to be crazy. Thanks to the modders. Let's go into mod talk. So, he lets modders mod the game openly, which I think is one of the best things that he probably did. And let's not go pat him on the back yet, because I don't think he did it because he was so nice and like, oh, I'm going to let these people just have some of the code and let them use it, manipulate it at their will because I love them. No, it was probably for free intern help. So these modders are pretty smart, and they go out there and they can take the code and they can fix and solve these little issues. And he's like, oh, that's a great idea. We never would have thought of that. He's a small little community in that little building there. So that's free work. That's free interns for him. You can let them manipulate the code, but they never own it. So everything that they do to it is yours. That's smart. That's a hell of a business tactic, grimy, as well as using the player fan base as beta testers all the time. That's what we've always been. We've been a beta tester for the game since it ever came out. There's things that fundamentally have just never worked, man. Discoveries, crossplay and discoveries, man. Those have never 100% worked. And discoveries are a big thing, man. You got people that they have their memorials up for their dead loved ones and things like that. And you name a planet and you do all these things, and then I don't know. Is it going to show up for Bob over there in the UK? Is it going to look at the same for him on Steam over in Australia? No, man, because everybody sees something different in this game. That's fundamental things that have just never worked. Who cares about grass and bullshit? The big update was where all the parts came in, but he chose wagon wheels. 1800s wagon wheels, man. That blows my mind, bro. And then the 3 pieces of grass lately. That's another mind-blowing thing there. So, He uses the free help, and then speaking of free help too, you got the content creators. I mean, it's not really their fault. Like I said, they got to spin their wheels and do their thing. But Sean, with those emojis, it just lets them overhype the game, and we get everybody into talking about these cities and everything else like that, and you're just never gonna see that. I mean, unless he drops support and then comes up, which it looks like there's kind of like some signs of that, because he already changed the minimum specs. The minimum specs changed on Steam. How do you do that? How do you change the minimum specs without giving refunds back to people? What about the people with the GTX 480s that already had bought the game and then all of a sudden it doesn't play for them anymore? It doesn't make any sense. Can someone explain that to me? How do you change minimum specs in the middle of a game run when you already promised it to people who bought the game on a GTX 480? Or do they just do a study and they're like, oh, there's only 2 people that we pissed off and we'll just give them their money back? I hope that they gave their money back. I would imagine so. I don't know how you do that in the middle of a run. To me, that's flabbergasting, and I don't even know how to wrap my head around that. So yeah, anyway, we've been modding the game. We've seen all this stuff. We've already had it there, and he's been slowly trickling out these little tiny little pieces at a time. Over 6 years. Oh my goodness. And if you look back, go to the Nexus mod page and go look and see the things that we were modding even way back before Next and things like that. I mean, there were space whales and stuff like that. We've made cities. I've seen it all. We've got Winder TP's mod that adds in all the parts that your heart's content. They're all animated, and we've got Red Moss and Woody Montana coming in with these terrains, and there's more planet variations than there are. I mean, there's mods that I put on where I can go visit 100 planets, not see the same one. And we already have it. We already have No Man's Sky 2. We've already blown way past it. I think Sean and everybody down there at the studios is not really doing much. I don't know what they're doing. They're not doing shit, because everything that they've already put out, they've already had way back in the day. They're just kind of like cross-engineering and reverse engineering and dumbing things down and trying to get it to work, and then probably been working on the Nintendo thing probably for the whole damn time. They probably been working on that Nintendo deal. And then just all they've had to do for No Man's Sky is slowly trickle out little tiny shit that they've had since the beginning, since 2016. That's what you've been getting. You guys think they're hard at work making 3 things of grass for months at a time? Wrap your head around that, man. You think they spent that much time on 3 things of grass and a few little storylines in an expedition? You gotta be fooling yourself, So before you just go out there and put a big old plaque of Sean Murray up on your wall, really go take an analytic look at what the guy has actually done. Now, it's a great game, and I'm just glad to be on PC where we can manipulate it and actually lift off all the bullshit that the company put on there and actually unlift the game so we can actually play the game the way it should have been played. And for that, I think the modders, and I think the that greed that pushed Sean and the developers into opening it up for free intern help and repairs from the modding community. So it's a good symbiotic relationship. I think it worked out really good. It worked out for me, and that's what's kept me in the so many hours that I have put into this game. It's over 5,000 on several different platforms, and I've purchased the game several different times and gifted it to people. So I've paid my dues, and every time someone says enjoy your free update, well, I don't see it that way. I'm a real consumer. I paid for it. I paid for it a long time ago, and I've seen what I can get, and I've seen what he's trickled out. And what he's trickled out was what you should have already gotten a long time ago. And he's been dangling the carrot, and I think that's because he's been castrated as the head of his business. And he is not in charge. And that's why he doesn't speak, doesn't do anything much. And, well, we're at the mercy of whatever bigger company, silent partner is in charge over there at Hello Games for us. So with that being said, 4.0, I wouldn't imagine much. And I know for me, it's going to probably ruin the game. It's going to be a lot of bugs. It's going to be a lot of people bitching about things. I'd imagine there'll be a few more parts. It'll be an expedition that follows. I don't know. It could be some frivolous little things. It could be something that might even surprise me, like a new race, some flood stuff, or things like that. But it's going to be shallow. It won't be super crazy. It's not going to change everything unless he drops support for old Jin and pushes it to another realm. But that's going to piss people off. You should just drop it all together and make a No Man's Sky 2 with high specs and then run that shit out. And then I would DLC this too, man. If it was me, I would have had downloadable content all over this game, man. You wanted custom ships, you wanted something, I would have like little tiny like DLCs all over this game, man. If you wanted something, little 99-cent gems everywhere. People would be all over it. Stickers, emotes, custom ships, extra biomes. Yeah, man. For people that had higher specs and things like that too, I think that would have been a smart idea. I know people are against DLCs, but I mean, don't give them honor in that, because it's dumb. Because I would love. It would have been on my honor to spend 99 cents or $5.99, or heck, if it was like Red Moss's mod, I would pay. I'd pay another version of the game. I'd pay $39.99 for Red Moss's mod. Easy. I'd subscribe. And if you think that the modders are smarter than the developing team, and you're wrong. They've been doing this forever. Sean plays a crazy version of this game in his own room. He's got some crazy big something going on with planets that are endless bound. He's playing No Man's Sky 3 already, and he's already got the update planned out for fucking 2042, and it's gonna be 6 blades of grass, but they're gonna be in a newer game that's really crazy, and he's already got it all milked out. He's already got it planned out for his grandkids and stuff like that. That's slimy. We could all have it now, but well, it profits way more to just milk it out and just barely keep everybody kind of blindly happy. And yeah, that's it, man. I wish you guys knew. Like, it's not all that great. It's not been all that great, but enjoy it. Enjoy the game. I mean, if you're happy, be happy. And if you enjoy your updates, enjoy your updates. But there is a backstory that goes deep into this game and deep into the company and deep into how this whole thing has evolved. And it doesn't sit very well if you really analyze it and look at it. And you know, again, you don't need to ruin everything by overanalyzing it, and I'm, I don't lose any sleep over it. I just wanted to sit down and have an irrational talk about a company rationally, without putting this company on a pedestal for just no reason, just because of just regurgitating what everybody else says. Oh, this great free update and this great company that with a great comeback, and Sean Murray this, and Sean Murray is so nice. It's debatable. It's an opinion. I don't know. He might not be the best person or the most business savvy man out there, because I feel like he's gotten himself into somewhat of a situation. And with that being said, that's just one person's opinion. They're like assholes. We all have one. So that is my update 4.0. For No Man's Sky, and it's always the same every year. Just count your blessings and be glad with whatever he gives you. It won't be all that much. Don't pay into the super crazy hype about there being real planetary physics or real water physics or cities or custom ships is an odd one. I mean, there could be. I just don't think so. Not with the seeded stuff. I mean, not without a reset. Which it needs a reset, though. I'd be surprised. I would be surprised, but it really needs it. A whole reset and merge servers and everything like that. It would piss everybody off and ruin everybody's stuff. But I think that's needed as a base for like this version of the game. I mean, that's what really needs to happen right there. Well, with that being said, that should be the 4.0 update, and that would be my best speculation, would be a full reset, a merger of the servers, fix discoveries, and fix crossplay. And give everybody 3 blades of grass and tell them to shut up and enjoy their free update. And with that being said, I love you guys. Call somebody and tell them you love them, and I'll see you on the next video.